John, cybersecurity is a major headache for many organisations at the moment. It's getting an increased level of prominence and increased level of concern at board level. However, why should cyber risks in relation to an organisation's supplier base command particular attention, do you think?
Well, the key thing here, Mark, is that the cyber strength of one organisation is only as strong as the weakest member in their supply chain. But the key issue that we're finding with clients is that many companies don't have adequate overview of key suppliers that have access to sensitive information. So I think the starting point when looking at cyber threats in your supply chain is due diligence. First, identifying a list of higher risk suppliers, and then second, looking at contractual protections to protect yourself against the risk of cyber incidents in the supply chain. Be interested to hear from you what key contractual protections you're seeing in the market currently.
Yes, contractual protections obviously is a point that's often close to lawyers' hearts. Typically we're seeing a focus on confidentiality provisions around data storage, data access, and the extent to which encryption and other particular security mechanisms are being deployed. We're also seeing a renewed focus on liability and related to that the issue of insurance. To what extent will a party who's taking care of a situation or is intimately involved in the supply chain be responsible for security breaches, and which party is responsible for and indeed able to obtain insurance against those risks. There's also a lot of focus aside from the, if you like, more legal side as to the practicalities of that and actually the extent to which a party will want audit rights over the security steps taken in its supply chain. That tends to be a more contentious issue and also relates back sometimes to the extent to which a supplier is required to have specific accreditations. Sometimes audit rights can be downgraded, if you like, if there's confidence that good quality accreditations are in place. Of course, the other issue that has been particularly topical of late is the issue of breach notification, particularly with the breach notification requirement under GDPR. John, I know that's something you've been thinking about. What are we seeing at the moment in terms of the approach to breach notifications?
Yeah, so we've talked a lot about defence here and protection, but cyber incidents are inevitable. You're not going to stop every single one. We've dealt with over 30 incidents since 25th of May this year. And what we're really finding is the key challenge for clients is scrambling around different suppliers and pulling together a coordinated approach in a 72-hour time frame, which is challenging for even the most sophisticated of businesses. So I think the first key element of this work is drafting a cyber response plan that is actually workable, so drafted with the IT security team in mind, but in a way that can be used by other members of the business that might be involved in a cyber response. So the PR team, for example, legal team, or HR if it's a employee-linked cyber threat. I think linked to that is the issue of cyber insurance, which is becoming a lot more prevalent as cyber threats have become much more focused by boards and has a real impact on reputation. And the third is really just making sure there's a clear record of contractual breach notification obligations that you've agreed with your suppliers. So in the event that the worst happens, you've got a clear picture on exactly when you can push your rights and when you can expect a response.
Great. So to sum up, really, it's all about understanding how your supply chain is involved and the particular risks that might sit in it, putting in place the correct defensive measures, whether those be contractual or non-contractual, and then really thinking around the practicalities of if an incident occurs, how will I manage that in practice, and how will I understand where in my supply chain it sits, and how I deal with that in a public-facing sense.
Yeah, I think the key message as well is that recognising that cyber threats are inevitable, but the regulators will expect you to have thought about what processes you've got in place and that you can demonstrate accountability for those processes.